that were relevant to attention to meaning question. Because I'm not sure about my own thoughts, and colors make me think what I say. Okay, so the colors that are used in the program. I could know the concept of the meaning I have in mind. It helped me to pay attention at the feedback, helped me to pay more attention in how to say the moves. The feedback tells me the moves sometimes different from what I try to express. It tells me whether I have expressed some sentences in a wrong way. I would find the improper explanation in my introduction, especially with the appropriate words I should use to give determined meaning. Okay, I mean that really gets at the point. Okay, what words can you use in an introduction? Okay, you don't want quack 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 in the introduction. You want the kinds of words that are used in your field to talk about problems, highlighting problems, and presenting the research. I begin to focus on the key word and expression way. I can use more specific words to express the meaning in my mind. Okay, so these were the kinds of things that the students were coming up with and describing how they worked with this system, just from the qualitative data. In this project, I think we can say that this was proof of concept success, because she's got a big grant now to do the second iteration of this. Okay, her project it researched introductions in research articles, and it taught the class. We taught all parts of the research, but it only had this really interesting call project for the introductions. Okay, she has since gotten money to develop the rest of this, and is working on a very big project. And she's written research articles and has made lots of revisions. And in terms of curriculum, I mean, we use this in our ESL for graduate students class. And since then, it has been developed, and the graduate college said, oh, wait, it's not only ESL students. We want more classes using this. And so the curriculum ideas are have actually expanded to some extent. So, example 3. And this one I'm going to go through more quickly. This is a project that was used in an undergraduate ESL class where the issue is, there are a number of issues, but one is producing argumentative essays. And this is preparing students for the writing classes that they're going to take with the rest of the students on campus. And so that was the focus, looking at the outcome is, does the argumentation improve? It's just one part of an overall class, and again, similar kinds of research outcomes. The students' challenge is both in reading, again, how do you find the language that signals the arguments, and then in writing argumentative essays. Students have a really hard time, and this is the international students, this is American students too, but in developing argumentative essays, they don't feel the audience, and partly because it's a contrived classroom situation, and the audience is the teacher in many cases, but the audience isn't purposes. But those things are central to writing arguments, and so developing this sense of audience was an important aspect of this project. And I'll show just an example of the kind of thing that kind of developed this whole an episode in this class consisted of a discussion topic such as, do you think students in this writing class should be required to work with automated writing evaluation systems? Why or why not? They are required to work with them, and so they should have some opinions about that. They should be able to argue about that. They have readings that talk about automated writing evaluation. They have face-to-face conversations, and they have to work with these ideas a lot before they're actually writing. But what she added was this collaborative task that's carried out in chat. The idea was, if you get the students talking through writing, that has the benefit of having them more reflection, of using the language of argumentation, and they're doing it with an audience. They're writing to somebody with an audience, okay, interactively. And so you get things like this, where the students are engaging in argument. Finley on the third line says, so we agree or disagree. How about, I give counter argument, okay, kind of language of arguments. You guys give reason why we should not use English. Oftenly, I take the opposition side, okay? They're arguing, they're doing their argumentation. Why is that? I still don't get it. Lambert, can you please clarify? Okay, and so the person has to clarify their argument. So they're doing this in chat because of the way the class is set up, the way the assignment is set up. They're doing argument interactively in writing, and the hope was that this would help them with their argumentative essays. Okay, within the context of the other things that were going on. So there were kind of two main research questions, one looking basically at the accuracy of the language, and the second was the development of the argumentation, and I'm going to focus on that second one. The research design collected quantitative data and then selected a participant for the qualitative data collection based on the quantitative results. And then the qualitative data allowed for amplifications of some of the details of the writing process. So these data in the second column here come from those quantitative data. And on the basis of these quantitative data, a participant was selected, and we can see his quantitative results, so we can see who this person is relative to the whole group. If you look at those results, he's on the low side. Okay, so this is not a strong student in terms of accuracy, complexity, etc. Fluency was at the high end. Okay, so the quantitative data here serve as a way of painting the picture of the whole sample. And so when you're looking at the qualitative results, you know who you're dealing with. You know to what extent this is representative. The qualitative analysis focuses on the quality of the argumentation. And this was the coding for it. And this is Jinlong did a very nice job of putting this in a way that I can show you very quickly. This is the first essay. Okay, so here's the coding again. These are the different things that are supposed to be in the argument. We've got 6 colors. First writing does not have 6 colors. Okay. Second writing adds a couple more colors. Okay. Added a little orientation. The next one added a lot of orientation. Writing number 3, a lot of orientation, maybe too much. Fourth writing, 6 colors. Okay. Pretty even 6 colors. Okay. And so we see the progression across the semester of the development of these different aspects that we want to find in the writing. And here's a summary of that. At the beginning, there was no orientation. There was no definition. There was no summary. Okay. Whereas at the end, they contained all of those parts. Okay. Okay. So these 3 examples, I think, help to show the complexity, the kinds of outcomes, the hybridity of these technology innovations. These were all things that were done in a classroom where lots of other things were going on. And they have multiple purposes and audiences. In each of these cases, the mixed methods research design seemed to be the answer. This was, I think it's very, as I said at the beginning, I think it's fortunate that this methodology has developed over the past 20 years to be something that you can read about. You can go to a book. There's a journal of mixed methods research, and so you can read about issues and other problems. These are in all different fields. There's a lot in nursing and lots of different areas of social science. There's a textbook that is what we use in our research methods class called Designing and Conducting Mixed Methods Research, Cresswell and Plano Clark. in its second edition. And this is where they introduce I showed you 3 very different pictures of designs of the research studies. And in this book, they talk about what the, what the parameters are for those designs and what the uses are for these different designs. But they give you the tools to build your own mixed method studies. And then there's also the SAGE Handbook of Mixed Methods in Social and Behavioral Sciences. If you search on that, you'll find it. And that it's one of these big fat handbooks that has lots of different perspectives, and it has philosophical stuff, methodological stuff, historical stuff, examples from all across the social sciences, and that's it's the beginning of the summer. It's nice summer reading, actually. It's really good material. What about applied linguistics, though? In applied linguistics, we see some on mixed methods research in the research methodology book. In particular, the research methods in applied linguistics by Dornier, published by Oxford University Press, 2007. He does qualitative, quantitative mixed methods, and we see it in some other places. What about in language learning and technology? Well, I mean, we've been using mixed methods ever since I've been doing this, right? I mean, we're the people who needed to kind of break out of the simplistic methodology designs, and we're the people who have these multiple audiences all the time that we're speaking to. And so there is a lot of this kind of work that's in the field already, but very few are really explicitly presented as saying, I'm doing a mixed method study, and here's my design, and so here's the piece I'm talking about in this article. And so the formalism for talking about the methodology is something that we don't see too much. In the journal Language Learning and Technology, if you search on mixed methods, there are 3 studies that explicitly say that, and you can see, that 2 of them are more recent. And I didn't check in Calico Journal, but anyway, I mean, my sense from reading this is that there aren't a whole lot of these that are stated as mixed methods. But despite the fact that there are a lot of mixed method studies that we do and that are published. So, I mean, historically, the research methods have been kind of, you either work on this side or that side. You're either a qualitative type who gets in there and actually, observes the kids while working with the kids, or you're measuring kids. And, they're kind of two. You get in there and participate in your research environment. This was for Canada. Okay, this is and otherwise, you take a distant view and say, oh, okay, how many elk are those elk? I don't know. I don't know. You get in there and do it. The philosophical perspective is constructivism. You're interpreting things. You're part of the situation. Otherwise, you collect the numbers and find out what's going on out there. And historically, I mean, there's just been, this divide between these kind of 2 world views. And a lot of people will still say, well, yeah, and they're just 2 different ways of looking at things, and that's the way it is. So mixed methods, where does it fall then? I mean, where are you? Are you out digging in the dirt, or are you at the computer looking at the numbers and finding what's really going on? And so these kind of 2, philosophical positions are sometimes painted as really opposite. Mixed methods then comes along and says, well, our philosophical perspective is pragmatism. Okay, this is kind of, and some of the work connects us to Dewey's pragmatism of, experiential learning and being driven by the research issue rather than by a philosophical approach of this is who I am, this is what I believe, and therefore my research. Mixed methods research, and this comes from our methodology book, and I know we're a tiny bit over. I'm almost done though. Mixed methods research a research design with philosophical assumptions as well as methods of inquiry, and it's presented this way in the research methods literature now.